That concludes tonight's debate. As a reminder to Christie, it's wide open, buddy.
Wow, welcome back to Harvard. That was a cue, and that was Saturday Night Live this weekend, joking about what a lot of Republicans around the country are thinking. The GOP field this year is still not satisfactory, and the one name that comes up over and over again, I don't know why, all over again this weekend, is the blunt-talking New Jersey Governor Christie. Today, former New Jersey Governor Tom Kean told the National Review Online that Governor Christie is, quote, very seriously, close quote, reconsidering a run. And the odds are a lot better now than they were a couple of weeks ago. So somebody's pushing this story on the inside. Kean, by the way, is a strong supporter of Christie and has urged him to run. But Christie has always denied he would consider entering this race in 2012. Let's take a look at what he said over time.
You're still saying categorically not running.
No,
2012.
I'm not running for president.
Categorically not running.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to put it, Diane. I mean, the answer is no, I'm not doing it.
You have to be really in your gut and in your heart ready to be president of the United States if you decide to run for that. And I simply do not have the desire to do it, nor do I think I'm ready.
I'm 100% certain I'm not going to run.
Listen, I threatened to commit suicide. I did. I said, what do I have to do short of suicide to convince people I'm not running? Apparently, I actually have to commit suicide.
Well, that sounds fairly certain. It's not exactly Sherman-esque, but it's close to it. But still, the calls for Christie to run continue as of we speak right now. And what does that say about the field that's out there running hard? And is there any chance the governor would reconsider over the next several weeks? U.S. Congressman Peter King represents parts of Long Island in New York State. Michael Sperganis is a nationally syndicated radio talk show host and an MSNBC contributor. I want to start with Congressman Peter King as an elected official from the Northeast. Is part of this just the sense that George Will mentioned the other day in a column that our part of the country up here has been underrepresented in your party? Is it essentially need somebody with attitude? What is it that's missing in the field right now?
You know, I've actually been a supporter of Chris Christie for a while. I actually drove all the way to Trenton, and to drive from New York to Trenton, you know, you got to be serious about it. This was last September, I guess, a year ago, and I spent about 2 hours with him, urging him to run. He pretty much convinced me at that time, certainly at that time, that he did not want to run. I saw him again a few weeks ago, and again, I'm not part of the inside with Chris Christie, but I was talking to him and his wife, and I don't know, he didn't seem as resistant now as he did then, but that could have been me just reading into it. Why is he attractive? I think, Chris, the fact that you said it yourself, he's tough talking, he gets the job done, and I think, and this is an old thing I have, I think he would appeal to the Reagan Democrats, the Irish, the Italian, the Catholic ethnics, the conservative Jews. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
he would really appeal to them. Yeah.
What is it, though, about something about that's missing? I'm trying to figure it out without being derogatory. I know you don't want to trash the other Republicans who are out there running and you may have to back. But what is it missing in, let's start with Romney. You know that old story about the dog food? They had great commercials for it. They had great advertising, great candidate came in, and the dogs wouldn't eat it. And somebody says, why don't the dogs eat it? It's well advertised. They said the dogs don't like it. There's something out there about the voters in the Republican Party, Peter, that they just don't like this guy. Romney.
I wouldn't say that I don't like him. Again, I've only been with him really for one extended period of time. And actually, I disagree with what you said before, what the reporter said. I found him one-on-one to be actually very friendly. When he is in front of a crowd, he does become more stiff. So I think his competence comes across and his sincerity as far as, wanting to get the job done. But no, he does not have certainly the Bill Clinton or George Bush or Lyndon Johnson, I'm trying to think, or Giuliani or D'Amato or Cuomo. Yeah, okay, I'll take that.
Okay,
Thank you.
Peter, you're pretty regular. Okay. Let's take a look at conservative commentator Bill Christie, not exactly the regular guy you bump into on the street, but yesterday he said he would like to see Governor Christie get in this race. Let's watch Bill Christie, a smart guy on Fox yesterday.
Sure. We don't know how Chris Christie would be, as Britt says, as a presidential candidate. I'd just like to see some of these guys try. You know?
I'm going to have to defend you.
Chris Christie would be a big, I've said this before, and I said this to him, and he's a good-natured enough to laugh at me and not knock me out. He'd be a big man for a big job.
Well, there's a little pun there. But here's an editorial in the New York Post this morning. Lead editorial, strong language urging the New Jersey governor to get in. Quote, there's no denying that Chris Christie has long been the hottest ticket in town, a genuine GOP political superstar with good reason. For one thing, he can construct a coherent sentence, appealing to people without talking down to them. And there is a freshness to him that's lacking in the other poll leader, Mitt Romney, who's been campaigning for 5 years now. Michael, you understand this business better than I do, which is the suburban person who decides all elections, tends to be maybe not real tough on abortion one way or the other, tends to be probably pro-choice, but they run on issues of moderation. They look for somewhere center-right. Is Christie the answer to their prayers?
Well, I think he can sell. I think he can play in suburbia, and some of those conservative influences who are encouraging him to get into the race, he might not be that which they anticipate. This is not a guy, and I like him. I'm favorably disposed toward him because of his fiscal prudence. But, Chris, he's not going to pass a GOP purity test. You know, there was an interesting issue recently that he had to make a determination on. It's this trend among employers to say in want ads, the unemployed need not apply. And Chris Christie passed into law in New Jersey a ban of that kind of advertising. They became the first in the country. And the free market purists were of a mindset that a person ought to be able to run their business how they see fit with little guidance from Uncle Sam. To me, it was a reminder that this is not a guy who's going to line up lockstep in those conservative boxes. Yeah, but he certainly will connect with the Reagan Democrat who's been out of work, who's 55 years old. Right, Congressman?
Yeah, Chris, I agree with you completely on that. That is what his strength is going to be, to appeal to people in the swing states. I think, and Michael's a good friend of mine, but I think Chris Christie is certainly conservative enough running against President Obama to hold the conservative states, the South, the West, the Southwest. But where he's going to really be competitive is New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio. I mean, those are Ohio and also Florida, obviously. So to me, that's where the election is going to swing. And I think Chris Christie can win those states, hold on to the conservative base, especially running against President Obama, who is obviously not going to me, win any of those conservative votes. So I think he is the best choice. I've told him that, but I have no inside information if he's going to run or not.
He just strikes me as a Knights of Columbus kind of. I mean, go ahead, Michael. Your thoughts. You have a better thought, man.
Yeah, the only point I was going to make is that I think to the extent that you're looking at who he pulls from, is it Perry or is it Romney? I think in the end he's a relatively moderate northeastern governor, and I see him more in a Romney mold than I do in a Perry mold. He might be exactly what Rick Perry needs at this juncture.
I think the Tea Partiers love him because I think he's got the attitude about big government and he has the attitude about the way things are. I think he's angry. And if you're not angry running this time, I don't think you're in sync. But that's my thought. Here's Christie. He's known for being blunt, as I said, and conservative when he's dealing with other politicians, combative, and with the press and even constituents. Here are a few of the governor's more famous or infamous outbursts, starting with his direct message to a few New Jersey beachgoers this summer who didn't listen to warnings to leave in that run-up to Irene. Let's watch.
Get the hell off the beach in Asbury Park and get out. You're done. It's 4:30. You've maximized your tan. You're going to have to raise the retirement age for Social Security. Oh, I just said it, and I'm still standing here. I did not vaporize into the carpeting.
You don't send your children to public schools, you send them to private schools, so I was wondering why you think it's fair to be cutting school funding to public schools.
Hey, Gail, you know what? First off, it's none of your business. I don't ask you where you send your kids to school. Don't bother me about where I send mine.
You know, Tom, you must be the thinnest-skinned guy in America. Because you think that's a confrontational tone, then, you should really see me when I'm pissed.
You know, Congressman King, I don't know how long you get along with that kind of a rough talk, but what do you think of the old argument in politics? Sometime in your life, the galloping horse of history rides by, and you better get on it because it ain't coming back for you. Is this Christie's time?
Chris, I think it is, and I'm not going to get into like a ideological debate with you on this, but I think among independent voters, a lot of the suburban people, they see a failure of leadership on President Obama's part. And I think with Chris Christie, people may overlook some of the details here or there. He's a tough leader. He's going to kick ass. He's going ahead. He's going to do whatever he has to do, and that's what people are going to see. And that, I think, is going to win conservative votes. It'll win Tea Party votes, but also it's going to bring a lot of the blue-collar guys, those construction unions, the cops, the firemen, despite what you're going to find quotes, he said this or that. I don't think it matters. I think the big picture is he is a big guy, he's a tough guy, and that's what people want this year.
And I think the American people deserve, this is a nonpartisan thought, they deserve a reasonable choice between two credible presidential candidates, Obama and someone else, and they better find one pretty soon. Anyway, thank you, Congressman Peter. My colleague, Michael Smerconi, sir, thanks for joining us. Up next...